Thank you. Thanks for being here today. Just want to share a little bit about myself. I have been the library director here at Clarke University for about 11 years, and I want to share my story about adopting WorldShare Management Systems, or rather, maybe how they adopted me, maybe would be a better analogy, because they really did quite a bit to help me through this process. I'm also happy to entertain questions, and if we don't get to all the questions, I'm honestly very open to answering questions. You can email me or call me or whatever works for you. So without further ado, I'm just going to launch right into my presentation and tell you my story. I also kind of want to share a little bit about Clarke University and kind of the unique situation that we found ourselves in a couple of years ago. We're a small nonprofit Catholic university located in Dubuque. And you can see on the map, we're right along the Mississippi, kind of in the tri-state area, right around Illinois and Wisconsin. So it gives you kind of a sense of where we're located. We have about 1,000 FTE, and mostly undergraduate, with a few master's and doctoral programs, and roughly 200 doctoral or master's degree students. We're also a very small staff. We have 2 librarians and 1 support staff, and then a student-run circulation desk that employs about 14 student workers. We're open 88 hours a week. And then prior to moving to WMS, we had several independent library systems. So that kind of gives you a background and as we go through my presentation, I'll kind of fill you in on a few other things that were going on, which kind of precipitated our switch to a different library system. So our goals in terms of making the switch, we wanted to streamline some things, processes and library systems. We wanted to also collaborate with another Catholic university here in town. We wanted to enhance our user experience, and we wanted to keep it simple. So a couple of years ago, Clarke Library lost 2 staff members due to layoffs. We weren't the only department to lose staff. About 15 to 20 people were laid off at the same time. So we weren't the only department struggling. Our IT department also had a couple of staff losses, which also kind of drove this decision to move to a new library system. And as I said a second ago, Loras College is another small Catholic college here in Dubuque, and both the college presidents, mine and Loras College's, were talking more and more with each other about finding ways to collaborate, and the library was kind of a natural place to start. We also had some 3 servers. We had 1 running Easy Proxy, 1 running Iliad, and 1 running Alexandria, our book catalog software, which most people haven't heard of. It's kind of a small, bare bones system that was in place when I came here. And then, you know, users have come to expect many tools at their fingertips, which we really weren't providing. And our previous, the book catalog we were using really lacked functionality. It was really simple. It didn't have any automated functionality at all. So again, that's kind of what was driving this decision to move to a new system. So with all those things in mind, we decided that we wanted the best system to help us blend 2 library catalogs and their processes, and probably more down the road. We don't really know where our collaboration project with Loras College is going to go. We assume that it's going to go and kind of grow and move move on further down the road at some point. We also wanted to streamline our processes, and we wanted one platform, and we wanted it to be cost-effective and something that would serve us well for many years. We also decided, because we had lost some IT staff, that we wanted it to be cloud-based, LDAP compatible, user-friendly, and the biggest probably hurdle was getting 2 library directors and their staff to agree. And we also wanted to keep up with all the changes in technology. So, you know, in a nutshell, that was our criteria. And having looked at some other systems, and of course none of them are perfect, but we found that OCLC met the majority of our needs. It was ability to be cloud-based, be hosted by OCLC. It was LDAP compatible. It had multiple functions, so it could do a lot of different things, even things we weren't currently doing and could maybe down the road. It allowed us to collaborate. It allowed us one platform for interlibrary loan, for acquisitions, for cataloging, and all of that. It offered a discovery service and just some other things that we may, you know, want to entertain, content DM being one of them. So this allowed us to streamline our processes and reduce maintenance costs on separate systems, so we no longer had to keep updated software and technology. The servers we would no longer need to maintain. And when we sat down and looked at several other book catalog systems, this one was the easiest one that would let us share a book catalog. And I'll talk a little bit more about how that works in a second. And like I said, it also allowed us growth for future opportunities, content being, DM being one of them. So 1 year in, so we being Loras College and Clarke University, we both migrated last July, and we continue to tweak things, which is mostly due to limited staff time that we have to devote to configuration and cleanup and that kind of thing. But we have a much cleaner catalog now. Our data is more accurate. Our rogue records are cleaned up, and again, OCLC was kind of instrumental in helping us to do that. We're better able to handle our electronic records and resources, mostly because we had, you know, records on different platforms, and people didn't want to search 15 different places. We have kind of just cleaned that up a lot. Our interlibrary loan and cataloging are simplified, and basically one person does both of those things now, and a variety of other things, but it definitely has made it easier to do more with less people. We're also working on other processes that will eventually free up staff time. Acquisitions is one that we haven't learned very well yet. We're kind of working on that this summer. And then our circulation functions are also simpler and more automated. We're now able to search both Clarke and Loras catalogs, which cuts down on interlibrary loan requests. We have a shuttle that goes back and forth twice a week, but if we need things quicker, one of the staff runs over and gets the item, or we send the student who needs it over to get the item. Just kind of depends on the situation, but it has cut down on our interlibrary loan requests. And like I said, we're still learning about all the functionality, especially the reports, acquisitions, and discovery layers. Part of it is when you come from a really simple, low-tech system like we had, and we moved to kind of what I would call the Cadillac system, there's just a lot to learn, and I think we will get there. It's just been kind of a slow process that we can kind of only do during breaks and summer and so forth. So we're still working, but we will get there. And, of course, there are challenges. Like I said, there's no system that is perfect, but some of the challenges that we faced, there was just a lot to learn in a short period of time with small staff. And 2 of us are librarians and 1's a support staff. And so the support staff person really had a crash course in kind of learning about different processes. And so it was hard for her. She did okay, but I don't think that's something that she was, I think she really knew what she was getting into, but she did good. The current catalog we had was a mess. We had incomplete bibliographic and authority information. It just needed a lot of cleanup, and there were a lot of cataloging errors from a previous cataloger who was not real accurate. So what we did, which was a challenge, was we did a complete inventory before migration, and we had about 100,000 items, monographs. So it was a big job, but I'm glad we did it because we ended up with a really clean catalog and good data to migrate. So even though it was a challenge, I think it was a good move. And the other challenge that we had was we had a short window to complete the migration and get the system up and running. We were bumping up against the start of the semester, and again, coming from a really simple system that really didn't give you a lot of options for configuration and customization, we were pretty overwhelmed with all of the options that we had. So we were still actually configuring the system when school started. And again, I think if we had ample staff, we probably could have done it sooner, but it was just what we had to deal with, so we did our best. And then, you know, cost savings has been minimal. Dollars and cents, it's not cost saving in that way, but it is cost saving when you sit down and think about less servers and software to maintain. There's less staff that you're paying to manage all these systems. So, I mean, I think you have to look at it that way as well, and that is how my institution has been looking at this, is we have just made significant changes and have given, you know, students more tools, and we have less people to manage those tools. So I think they look at it as a win-win, but the cost savings to the library's budget and the library's bottom line has been minimal. And then just to recap, some of the benefits that we've experienced have been really helpful. Our workloads are lighter. We don't really have any database maintenance, which is a real big relief to me because I did all the database management, and I just call up OCLC and say, hey, it doesn't seem to be working right, can you help me? And they are very responsive. We now have automated messages that go out to students, so if a book's available for pickup, they get a message. An overdue message these are all automated, which we did not have previously. So that's something that I'm really happy about. Our books are actually coming back because we would have to send out emails ourselves, individuals, and so this is just a whole lot simpler. So as I mentioned before, Clarke and Morris, 2 colleges real close together here in town, are sharing our book catalogs. And so there's a setting option in WMS that allows you to search WorldCat. You can just search your own library, or you can search local libraries. So we have a button that students can use to just click on local libraries, which would mean they could search for Loris and for any other library here in town, but we have it set so they can just search Loris's as well, and then that's just been a really nice feature. The other thing that I think will be good down the road is we're working on matching our circulation and patron policies with Loris, and so that will also kind of simplify things. So their students are our students and our students are their students. So there's that part of it that makes it pretty easy with WMS as well. And the other thing, like I mentioned earlier, is we now have a discovery layer, so people don't have to go to 13 places to find something that they're looking for. We still have some bugs to work out with our discovery service or searching, but it's definitely an improvement to what we had earlier. We also are getting some pretty good feedback from our patrons, our users. They like having just one sign-in. They like having, to be able to check out see what they have on their record, see what items are checked out. They can put a hold. They can renew their items. So that's all been something that's new for our students, and that may not seem like a big deal, I guess, to some, but for us, that was something that was pretty exciting. The other piece that has been really helpful, circulation is really easy for students. We have a student-run desk. It's easy for them to navigate. I have a little screenshot here on the slide in the lower right hand corner, and everything is here. If you want to check in a book, you choose check in, and all you do then is just scan the barcode. You want to discover items, that's where you can search for items. And so basically this has been a whole lot simpler for our student workers to use from the old system. They didn't like the old system because it was pretty clunky and you had to move from, you'd have tabs, but then you'd have to, kind of flip back and forth to look at things. Here, you don't really do a whole lot of flipping back and forth. When you choose a tab, whatever is going on over to the right of the tab just shows up. So we've been really happy with that part as well. TPASA, which is the interlibrary loan, is also easy, and our sister college, Loris, has been processing our interlibrary loan requests for our students. And the reason they're doing that and continue to do that is, as I mentioned earlier, we are a 3-person staff, and in January, one of my staff persons had to go on medical leave, which just left us with 2 staff persons. So they've been doing our interlibrary loan since January, and they're only processing the requests. I'm still processing people's items that they want to borrow from us. But it makes it really easy to do that because I give them a login and they just log into TPASA and they process my stuff, and it's just been really simple. The other thing I like is it's a cloud-based system. Our IT department likes that it's a cloud-based system, really low maintenance, easy proxy. We also have hosted through OCLC, and so it takes a lot of that work off of my plate. We also have all of our electronic books are now on one platform where they used to be on different platforms. Now we just have it on one, and that works really well. And OCLC helps us when we get stuck. I have appreciated them just kind of entertaining my stupid questions, because I've had a lot of them, and they're always very professional and helpful, and have sort of brought me, you know, kind of over to the other side here as we've gone through this migration process, and I've been extremely pleased with how that has gone. So just to kind of recap, I think WMS is working pretty well. It's allowed us to streamline our processes, especially cataloging and interlibrary loan. There will be some more to come. We are still working on learning the acquisitions module. I think that's going to take a bit of work off of one of our staff members' plate, or at least simplify it. It was the best system for what we needed, which was to move our collaboration initiative forward, which makes my president of the college here very happy. Some institutional cost savings. After you think about eliminating servers and software and the people needed to run them, I think the institution's been real happy in terms of how that's worked out. And it's been a lot to learn, but it was definitely worth it.